McLean, Virginia is home to diplomats, government officials, athletes, celebrities, CEOs, and it has some of the most beautiful, stunning homes in all of North Virginia, if not the country. But the question is, if you're thinking about moving to McLean, Virginia, is it actually worth the hype? That's what we're going to explore today. Hey everyone, this is Paul Kim, your favorite Northern Virginia realtor. And if you're thinking about moving to McLean, Virginia, this video is for you, so stay tuned as we're going to cover a lot. First, let's start with a quick overview of McLean, where it is on the map, and what's important if you are actually planning to move this way. So here we have Google Earth pulled up, which is quite an awesome tool. And we see McLean, Virginia, right here in the middle. Just west of DC, so across the Potomac is where DC is going to be. To the southeast, you have Arlington. To the west up here, you're going to have Great Falls going into Herndon and Loudoun County up this way. You have Tyson's Corner right here, which is home to a lot of shopping and fun things to do. You zoom out a little bit more. You're going to find that Dulles International Airport is, it's going to be an important destination for you if you plan on flying anywhere. It's pretty close, especially if you get on this 267 Dulles toll road, depending on where you get on. It's actually a free ride all the way to the airport, probably about 20-25 minutes. Or if you like to fly out of DC area, you're going to have the DCA, which is Washington National Airport, down this way. So access to two solid airports, good shopping area. DC is here as well. One thing that people say about McLean is that it's kind of the suburbs of Washington, D.C. It depends on who you are and how far your suburban radius or radius outside of D.C. goes. Overall, in McLean, you're going to find that it is very family friendly. The vibe, if you will, is pretty affluent. There is a lot of wealth and money in McLean. Even though technically Loudoun County is the richest county in the country, McLean is where a lot of the wealthy people in this area, the DC metro area, live. It really comes with all the stuff that money brings in. Because of that, there are very strong private schools as well as public schools. And so people who move to this Northern Virginia area who are interested in highly rated schools are going to be looking in McLean, Virginia. Okay, so let's go straight into the pros and cons. Pro number one of living in McLean, Virginia is simply the geographical location. If we go back to Google Earth, again, McLean is here, which actually comes out this way as well to the west side of 495. Again, we can tell that it is close to Washington, D.C., so people who work in D.C., it's a pretty easy commute into the city, depending on how you want to get there, whether it's by metro, which exists now, or commuting by car. McLean is also right along this beltway, 495, and if you've seen any of my other Northern Virginia videos, you'll know that 495 is this beltway. We call it the beltway because it's kind of like a belt that goes around DC. And this is one of the major highways that goes around here in the DC metro area, DC, Virginia, and Maryland. So it's nice. It's nice to go on the highway and get to where you need to go. Just make sure you go in the right way because sometimes it gets a little confusing. North, south, east, west, it all changes depending on where you're at. Also near McLean, Virginia is this Dulles Toll Road 267, which I mentioned earlier. Now, it is a toll road, so depending on where you want to go, you're going to have to pay money. But depending on the time of day, it can save you a ton of time because of the traffic. And it starts here, goes all the way west into Ashburn and Loudoun County. And last but not least, the other major highway that I want to point out here is this road, which is Route 66. This is another highway that goes from east to west and west to east, that goes all the way from this area in Chantilly and Gainesville into DC. Keep in mind that through 495, if you go east 495, depending on when you travel, it's going to be a toll road as well. I won't get into too much detail there, but long story short, because of where McLean is located geographically, it is an amazing location for commuters. It's an amazing location for anyone basically that wants to go anywhere, just because it has access to all of these major highways as well as the two airports that I mentioned earlier. Number two pro of McLean, another one that I mentioned earlier, is the top rated schools in this area. People love and actively look for schools like Langley High School, McLean High School, Cooper Middle School, Longfellow Middle School as well. They're all in McLean. Even the elementary school list, which I'm not going to go through because they are, there's a lot, but they're all very highly rated. So anybody that's moving to McLean that's also considering the school districts, for the most part, you will not be disappointed. Pro number 3 we'll put together is safety and prestige. Long story short, to be honest, where there's a lot of money, usually they are concerned about their safety. We have a lot of athletes and, like I said before, government officials and CEOs that live here in McLean. Of course, it's going to be a safe neighborhood because they care about safety. So if you do end up living in McLean, safety generally is not going to be one of those things that you worry about here. Pro number 4 is that there are lots of beautiful homes and greenery here in McLean, Virginia. So one of the cool things about McLean is that you are close to DC, which is the city, but in McLean you are more in the suburban area, but you're also surrounded by nature. And because you have a little bit more land, you're going to have nicer homes. They're going to be a little bit expensive, but again, they're going to be beautiful homes with a lot of money invested into them to be beautiful. You might even call them estates, and they're going to be surrounded in many places by greenery. If you particularly like nature, in McLean, you're going to be close to Great Falls National Park. There's a Scotts Run Preserve, and there's actually a playground called Clemmy Jowntree as well, which I won't get into too much detail because technically it's not greenery. But if you do have kids, it's a beautiful and amazing place to let them just go out and run around. Pro number 5 is the community and the amenities. Now, despite what people may say, people in McLean actually have a great sense of community. They love being neighbors, and if you're lucky to be in one of the neighborhoods with a lot of families as well as sidewalks, prepare to become best friends with them all, because that's how it's built around here. In McLean, you're going to have local events like farmers markets, different community events and cultural events, as well as things that you're going to have within your each individual neighborhood. All that being said, let's get into some of the cons of living in McLean, Virginia. Con number 1 is the cost of living. So a lot of times when you have a high demand for a particular area, when you have highly rated schools, when you have a tight-knit community, and all these other great things that we talked about, you're going to have a lot of people that want to live there. And where there's high demand, that's naturally going to drive prices up. So home prices are expensive, property taxes are also going to be expensive, and generally in McLean, life is going to be expensive, which means if you're a first-time home buyer, as nice as it sounds to live in McLean, it might actually be harder for you to find a home here. Not to say it's impossible, and I'll help you do it, but it's not going to be easy. Con number 2 is that there is a very limited nightlife. And by nightlife, I mean things that happen after 9 p.m. Tyson's Corner is nearby, so there are things to do. But at the end of the day, you're not going to have activities in a nightlife like DC and Arlington, which is more prevalent in those areas. So if you're looking for things to do at nighttime, McLean probably is not for you. Con number 3 is the traffic. Now, as we mentioned before, because people want to live here, there's going to be a lot of people, but the ones that commute to DC or really anywhere at the right or wrong times, there's going to be a lot of traffic, particularly on Old Dominion Road or Chambridge, because they're smaller roads, and also because this area is constantly developing. There's going to be some construction, and oftentimes you're going to have these lane restrictions where an already tight road with a lot of cars becomes even tighter. Not all the time, but when it does happen, the traffic can be a little bit annoying. Con number 4 is that there's limited walkability in McLean. Now, what I mean by that is, for the most part, you're not really going to be able to go outside and just take a long walk on sidewalks everywhere in McLean. And the reason is because aside from a couple of neighborhoods, which we call sidewalk communities, like the Hamlet, long story short, there's just not a lot of sidewalks to walk on. If you are walking outside with little kids, generally it's not the most friendly place for you to just take the kids out. Again, aside from these limited neighborhoods, we're just going to be like, hey, go out, have fun, take a nice walk, and you're a little bit carefree with them. You're going to want to hold their hands depending on how young they are, and you want to make sure they're safe because it's not that walkable. Also, if you're thinking about walking to different places to shop or to go eat, unless you're super close to Tyson's or these small shopping centers scattered throughout McLean, McLean really isn't like a walkable town or neighborhood or city. So if walkability is very, very important to you, McLean might not be it. And finally, con number 5 is the competitive housing market. Again, because there is a high demand and relatively low inventory, although over the last couple of months, inventory has been increasing. Because the demand is still so high, you're going to have to compete with quite a few other buyers to get into a property that you want, especially if you're looking in the lower price ranges for McLean, because I would say the average population is in that area for McLean. You're going to have to compete with a lot of other people, which is great if you're a seller, but as a buyer, it can be difficult and you may need a pro to help you navigate the situation best. So the question remains, is McLean Virginia worth the hype? Well, if you're into luxury and prestige, being close to a lot of different things and being in proximity to everything that you want, essentially, then maybe it is. Maybe it is worth the premium price tag. Maybe it is worth making the effort to try to compete in the market to get into McLean Virginia. However, if those things really don't appeal to you that much and you're more concerned about the home costs in general, then McLean might not be for you. And there's plenty of other beautiful neighborhoods and cities around the Northern Virginia area that would fit you better. If you have any questions about those or you're wondering what those are, obviously reach out to me as well. So if you're thinking about making a move to McLean Virginia or out of McLean, then don't hesitate to reach out to me anytime. Give me a call, text, or email. My team and I are happy to help you in whatever way we can. And if you like this video and found it helpful, be sure to like it and subscribe so you can stay up to date with what's going on here in Northern Virginia. Until next time.